The story opens with Nick Hume, a dedicated husband to Helen and a loving father to two boys, Brendan and Luke. By day, Nick serves as a vice president at an insurance company, a man of order and discipline who takes pride in precision and procedure. But after work, he leaves that world behind, returning home to the warmth of his family. At the dinner table, they share plans for the weekend. Nick will take Brendan to his hockey game, while Helen takes Luke to his soccer match. Saturday, Brendan shines on the ice, delivering a stellar performance as his father cheers from the stands with unwavering pride. The drive home is filled with hope and dreams. Brendan talks excitedly about attending college in Canada and pursuing a career in professional hockey. But fate intervenes when Nick briefly flashes his headlights at two cars driving without lights. A seemingly harmless act that sets a deadly chain of events in motion. Stopping for gas on their way home, Brendan steps inside to buy a smoothie, while the very same cars they passed pull into the station. Inside sit members of a violent gang. When the station clerk reaches for a weapon, he is gunned down. As part of a brutal initiation, a new recruit must prove himself. He does so by viciously slashing Brendan's throat with a machete. Nick desperately chases after the gang, tackling Brendan's killer and ripping away his mask before the attacker escapes, only to be struck by a passing car. But it's too late. Nick rushes his bleeding son to the hospital, clinging to hope, only to watch Brendan succumb to his wounds. A police lineup. Nick identifies the suspect, 22-year-old Joe Darley. After Brendan's funeral, Helen begs Nick to make sure justice is served, to see that the animal is locked away. But when Nick meets with the district attorney, his faith in the system shatters. With no security footage, no murder weapon, and Nick as the only witness, Joe would face only 3 to 5 years if convicted. In court, Joe mocks Nick with arrogant gestures. In a moment of quiet defiance, Nick claims he cannot be sure of the identification. The case collapses, and Joe walks free. Watching Joe celebrate with his older brother, Billy Darley, the ruthless leader of the gang, Nick makes a fateful choice. That night, he retrieves a knife from his shed. To Helen, he lies, saying the killer wasn't Brendan's murderer and the police are still searching. In truth, he stalks Joe to an apartment complex. When Joe steps outside, Nick ambushes him in the shadows, stabbing him repeatedly. Shaken, he disposes of the knife in a nearby river. His hand cut and bleeding, he hides his wound from Helen, claiming it was a fall. But alone in the shower, the weight of guilt breaks him, and he collapses in tears. Soon after, Billy discovers Joe has been killed. The gang vows revenge. Detective Jessica Wallis visits Nick at work, suspecting his involvement after noticing his injured hand. Billy wastes no time. In broad daylight, he and his gang ambush Nick in a chaotic high-speed chase. Cornered on a rooftop, Nick kills one of them in a desperate fight. Escalating the war further. The police realize Nick is at the center of the conflict, yet lack evidence to act. The battle turns personal when Billy sends Nick a briefcase filled with photos of his family, each face marked in red ink, except Nick's, beside which a phone number is scrawled. When Nick calls, Billy answers with a chilling threat: his family will die. Panicked, Nick rushes home, only to be confronted by Detective Wallis, who reveals the truth to Helen, that Nick's actions have provoked this blood feud. Police protection is assigned, but it proves futile. That night, the gang storms the Hume home. The officers guarding them are slain. A barrage of gunfire tears through the house. Nick, Helen, and Luke are all shot. Nick awakens in the hospital, devastated to learn Helen has died. Luke survives, but lies in a coma. Hollow and broken, Nick gazes upon his son, realizing the ordered life he once believed in has crumbled into chaos. Under police watch, he escapes through Luke's hospital window. Driven by vengeance, Nick empties his bank account and traces the gang's phone number with the help of a colleague. He begins his transformation, visiting shady bars and forcing information from those connected to Billy's crew. His journey leads him to Bones Darley, Billy and Joe's father, who runs an underground gun shop hidden in an auto repair business. Spending everything he has, Nick arms himself with a .357 Magnum, a Colt .45, and a double-barreled shotgun. Surprisingly, Bones lets him walk away, disgusted by Billy's reckless leadership and resigned to letting his son face the consequences. Prepared for war, Nick shaves his head and dons Brendan's leather jacket, wearing his son's memory like armor. He tracks down a gang member, forces him to reveal their hideout, an abandoned hospital called The Office, and executes him, sending a message directly to Billy, but Billy responds in blood. In a fit of rage, he kills his own father, Bones, rejecting even the warning of imminent danger. Nick, meanwhile, launches his one-man assault on the office. Crashing his stolen car into a gang van, he storms inside with his arsenal. One by one, he hunts them down, shotgun blasts through windows, pistol fire down stairwells, blood staining the broken halls of the old hospital. When Billy arrives, most of his crew is already dead. The final confrontation comes in a former sanctuary, bathed in the crimson glow of stained glass. Billy shoots Nick, but Nick retaliates, wounding him. Billy's right-hand man sneaks in and shoots Nick through the neck, but Nick kills him instantly. Both men, battered and bleeding, collapse on the pews. Billy sneers at Nick, saying, "You look like one of us. Look what I made you." But Nick, unfazed, draws his revolver. "Ready?" he asks. Billy exhales in defeat. The screen fades to silence. At dawn, Nick staggers out of the building alone, wounded but alive, implying Billy has met his end. He returns home in Billy's stolen Mustang, limping inside as police arrive. There, Detective Wallis delivers a fragile thread of hope. Luke has started to move and will likely survive. Relief flickers across Nick's scarred face as he sinks into the living room, where a home video plays. A happier time, his family singing and laughing together. As the recording plays, Nick, bloodied and broken, closes his eyes, resting at last in the memory of what he has lost.